Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be doing my May reading wrap up. So I'm going to be going through all of the books that I read in the month of May, giving you my ratings, a little bit about them, all that good stuff. May was actually a super good reading month for me. I read 11 books in the month of May, almost 12. I have one book that I'm probably going to finish today on the 1st, but I'm going to count it towards June. I went on a long weekend trip over Memorial Day to Florida to visit my family and just basically read the whole time, laid by the beach in the pool and read. So got a lot of reading in. I read some really good books. I have some new releases, so we are just going to jump right into it. So the first book I read this month is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This book actually came out in April, I believe, but I didn't get around to reading it until May, and I loved this book so much. I'm just obsessed with Elsie Silver's writing in general, and I've missed her writing because of the Chestnut Spring series being over, so I'm so excited that she's starting a new series, and I just loved this book so much. This is about Theo, and he is the sister of Willa from one of the Chestnut Springs books, so you do get a little bit of overlap, but they take place in different cities, so there's not all of the characters, but you do get a little bit. And then it's also about Rosie, and basically she moves back to the small town that she grew up in, and she knows Theo from her childhood, but they haven't seen each other in a really long time. He is her brother's best friend, so she always just kind of saw him like that. He's opening a music studio or record studio, and so she starts working for him, helping him get that off the ground, and just the banter between them is genuinely so good. I love it so much. I'm obsessed with Theo. His character is incredible. I love Rosie. Both of them are literally just perfect. And there's a small element of something else that happens in here that it might be on the back of the book, but I don't want to say it because I feel like it's a little bit of a spoiler, but there's another additional element to this that I just love so much. And I just love all these characters, and I'm so excited for another book in this series. I think the next book is going to be about Rosie's brother and his romance, so I'm really excited. Yeah, I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. Next up, I read Powerful by Lauren Roberts. So this is the novella that comes after Powerless and right before Reckless. So it's very short. It obviously is a novella. It's 200 pages, but the book itself is super tiny and the words are really big on each page. So I literally binged this in a day, but basically this is about Adina, the best friend of Peyton from Powerless, and it kind of just follows her story of what's going on in her life while Peyton gets taken to the trials, and I loved it so much. It was really sweet. Adina kind of has her own little romance that goes on that is really sweet, and honestly I wish this was longer and we got more of a full development of this romance because it was really sweet and I really enjoyed it. But if you have read Powerless, then you kind of know what's gonna happen, and yeah, the end of this book absolutely shattered me. Okay, then I went into kind of a binge of finishing out the Addicted Calloway Sister series. So obviously I won't talk too much about those because they are in a series and it would be giving away other stuff that happens. But if you somehow don't know, the Addicted Calloway Sister series follows 3 couples, 3 sisters and their significant others. They're all kind of struggling with different things. So Lily and Lo, who are the main couple, they both struggle with addictions. And then you've got Daisy and Reich, and then Rose and Connor. So first I read Thrive, and that is, I want to say, the 4th book about Lily and Lo, and it follows them during the timelines of 2 other books. So before this you had Kiss the Sky, which is Rose and Connor's book, and Hot House Flower, which is Reich and Daisy's book. And so this kind of follows Lily and Lo during that time, and I gave that one 4 stars. Then we have Addicted After All, which is the last book solely dedicated to Lily and Lo. They obviously still show up in all the other books, but it's the last book dedicated to them, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. I just loved this book so much. Honestly, when you read this series, it's 10 books and you genuinely become so connected to these characters. You feel like you know them inside and out. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't obsessed with the series at the start. The first 2 books, I think, I wasn't really into it. It was good, but I wasn't obsessed. And then the more you get to know the characters and kind of start to understand them and feel for them and genuinely feel like they are family. I'm not kidding you, when I wasn't reading about them, I was thinking about them, and it felt like they were real people, which is kind of crazy that a book can make you feel that way. And I read Fuel the Fire, and I only gave that one 3.5 stars. I'm gonna be honest, Rose and Connor are probably my least favorite couple, which I know is controversial. They're a lot of people's favorite couple, but for me, Daisy and Reich are my favorite, Lily and Lo are my second favorite couple, and then Rose and Connor last. I don't know, their just dynamic is not one that I love, but I get it for them and I love them as characters and for what they stand for, but I just think their storyline is probably my least favorite and one that I think I relate to the least. I read Long Way Down, which is the last book before the extended epilogue. So this is Daisy and Reich's story, and it also kind of wraps up a little bit of things for the whole core 6, but you do get the extended epilogue afterwards. But I gave this one 4.5 stars. Like I said, Daisy and Reich are my favorite couple. I'm obsessed with them and I just loved everything about this book. And then finally we have Some Kind of Perfect, which is an extended epilogue. It follows them over the next, I want to say like 10 years or so, and you get point of views from all 6 characters, which I love so much. And it kind of follows them as their families grow and they have kids and their businesses and that kind of stuff. And honestly, it was just really fun. It almost felt like watching a reality TV show, but like just reading it, and I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So I gave that one 4.5 stars. Okay, then I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. This is her newest release that just came out, and I really enjoyed this book. So I loved Every Summer After. I gave that one 5 stars. Then Meet Me at the Lake, I wasn't as obsessed with. I think I gave that one like maybe 3 stars. But this is her 3rd book. I loved this one so much. I gave it 4.25 stars. So this is about Lucy, and you get like a little prologue that kind of sets the scene. But basically 5 years ago, her best friend had invited her to her family's like beach house on Prince Edward Island. Lucy gets there before her friend and ends up having a one-night stand with a bartender who you find out is actually her friend Bridget's brother Felix. So Lucy like doesn't want to tell her friend, and basically you get these little flashbacks to every time she went back to visit Prince Edward Island and this like little flirtation between her and Felix. But it's 5 years from that time in the future. I'm not sure if this is making any sense. Honestly, the timelines were kind of confusing me at first, I'm not gonna lie. But it's 5 years in the future and Bridget is about to get married, and basically she asks Lucy like, can we go to Prince Edward Island one last time before she gets married? And so Lucy drops everything and goes, and she sees Felix. She hasn't seen him in, I want to say, a year at that point. Just the romance between them is so sweet. I also just loved the writing. I loved getting the flashbacks to other times that Lucy and Felix have like hung out or seen each other, and this like almost like long drawn out slow burn over literally like 5 years of a romance, and I just thought it was really sweet. I also really enjoyed the outside characters like Bridget and friends of Felix's, and I just thought the whole setting was really fun. I finished this on the beach in Florida and it just was absolutely perfect. Like, this is a book that you need to read either by the beach or by the pool because it's the perfect setting. Okay, so then I was in Florida and I finished that book and I had my Kindle with me, and I was just looking on Kindle Unlimited to try and find some like beachy summer romances. I was just feeling that while being by the beach, and I found The Unhoneymooners was on Kindle Unlimited, which I have had it on my want to read on Goodreads for like so long. So I decided to pick that up, and I only ended up giving it 2.5 stars. I'm gonna be honest, I really wasn't loving it. This is about Olive and her twin sister Amy gets married, and at the wedding everybody gets food poisoning except for Olive and the groom's brother Ethan. Amy had won a honeymoon, and now that she can't go, she's like, I need you guys to go because it's non-refundable, like please go. So Olive and Ethan are forced to go on this honeymoon trip together, but they have never really liked each other, never really gotten along. But now they're kind of in this forced proximity, and I was really hoping that I would like it more, but I just wasn't really a fan of either character, and I wasn't really a fan of them together either. Like, Ethan to me just really bugged me. He was like kind of grumpy and almost a little mean to her, and then I just didn't love Olive's character that much either. I mean, it was a fun read by the beach if you're looking for a summertime read, but it wasn't one that I feel like I'm gonna think about in the future or ever like want to pick up again. Okay, sorry if the lighting or the angle or anything changed. My camera died, and so I had to charge it for a second, but we're back. And I have 2 more books to talk about that I read this month. After I read The Unhoneymooners, I read The Infinity Between Us by N.S. Perkins. This is another one that has been on my TBR for a little bit, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I downloaded it. It's about Violet and Will, and their families owned a beach house together. They haven't been in 5 years because something happened, and Violet goes back because she's trying to get the house ready to sell, and she runs into Will, and he is trying to fix up the house and then also try to convince Violet to keep it. And he kind of sets up this deal with her where he basically says, if you stay here for the summer and if you still want to sell the house by the end of the summer, then we can sell it. So you're getting flashbacks to the summers they spent together with their families living there. They started dating when they were younger, and then obviously they've now since broken up, and there's something that's happened that you're trying to figure out. And I did really enjoy this. It kind of reminds me of some other books. I feel like this sort of trope is very common, like Every Summer After, Love in Other Words. Honestly, it even reminded me a little bit of The Summer I Turned Pretty, but I still really liked it. It was a really fun one to read on the beach. I ended up giving it 3 stars. Like, it was really good. I didn't like super connect to either of the characters, but I really loved the trope of childhood friends to lovers, and it was just a fun summer read. And then the last one that I read, I found this one on TikTok actually. I'm pretty sure it was the author was promoting it, and she was kind of just talking about some of the tropes, and I was like, that sounds like something I would like, because it is kind of similar to the book I read before, where it's like childhood friends to lovers, beach house, that sort of thing. So this one is called The Summers We Left Behind by Margaret Graham. And this is about Emma, and basically she finds out that her college boyfriend has been cheating on her. So she goes on a spring break trip with her best friends, and she ends up in Harrietsville, which is the little beach town that she used to go to every summer. And so you get flashbacks to her going to this beach town and meeting her next door neighbor there, Bennett. And it's now been about, I want to say like 5 years since she's been there, and she hasn't seen him. And you know that they used to date, but for some reason they're now not. Honestly, it's very similar to The Infinity Between Us. And of course she runs into Bennett again while she's there on spring break. And I gave this one 2 stars because the writing just felt very clunky and like choppy, and it felt like one paragraph wouldn't flow into the next. I think also because I read a book pretty similar to it right before, I was almost comparing it a little bit. It also felt super rushed. Like, I enjoyed the overall storyline. It was a storyline that I thought I would really enjoy, but it felt super rushed. I feel like there needed to be more details included. The book was super short, and I feel like it could have been a little bit longer and we could have included more details. It also felt like things were going too fast. Like, they would just skip over timelines, or it just seemed like there were some big plot holes. So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really love it. I ended up kind of like skimming the last little bit because I kind of just wanted it to be over. So I gave that one only 2 stars. So that is all that I read in the month of May. Overall, I feel like it was a really good reading month. I started kind of reading some more summer books, which I am so excited. June has so many new releases coming out, so many books that I'm planning on reading that are like summer vibes, and I'm just like now in that mindset of like reading summer books. So I'm so excited to get into that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.